Well, good afternoon, everyone on Facebook. Thank you so much for tuning in to join us for the next part of our exceptional series, our Facebook Live Q&A series that we're calling the Exceptional Series. And for us, being exceptional means going above and beyond, being complete and then more. And so we have had the privilege of having a series of guests on for me to just have a great casual conversation with, to talk about what makes them exceptional, learn a little bit more about the entrepreneur behind the business, and also learning something about their business and maybe even about their industry. So today I have a really interesting guest, Marc Hughes. He is the owner, franchise owner. Him and his wife, Hope, own Frannys Pharmacy. So you're going to hear more from him in just a minute. But first, well, let me introduce myself. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Lindsay Keisler. I have the privilege of being president and CEO of the Chamber of Catawba County. And again, this is really fun for me to get to have a great conversation with someone that maybe you haven't had a chance to meet before. And so first, we couldn't do this without our great partners and the support of our sponsors. So J. Brown Realtors has been our sponsor to kick off our Facebook Live Q&A. First for our small business innovators, and now for the exceptional series. So Jay is joining us today, as he always does. So I'm going to turn it over to Jay to say a couple words.
Hey, Lindsay, how are you doing today?
Oh, great. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks. Again, always a pleasure. I'm excited. Marc is on today, Frannys Pharmacy. Really interesting story. I'm excited to hear his story. I've heard lots of good things about them. So I think today's going to be a good show. And I appreciate you guys letting me be a sponsor, and look forward to all the other guests we have lined up coming up soon. So thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Kim. See you guys.
Thanks again, Jay. We really appreciate your support and your sponsorship. You're always willing to help us, launch crazy things like this. So we appreciate that very much. I want to encourage you to engage with us. So this is live. So if you're watching it now, it's live. If we're finished and you're catching the replay, I would love for you to tell us that you stopped in, and tell us by commenting replay on the post. So if you're watching this live, drop us a comment so that I can make sure we can see comments, because what's really awesome is that you guys have the ability to comment and ask questions, so I can weave that into my conversation with Marc today. So the other thing, share the video. So we have had quite the viewership because of you guys. You have shared this feed and enabled other people to hear what our guests have had to say. And so I encourage you to click the share button. We'll really appreciate it. And then you can also start a watch party. So that's something fun that gives you an option to click start a watch party, and your friends list can be notified that you're watching this Facebook Live Q&A, and they can hop on and watch it with you. So drop us, if you're watching live, go ahead and give us a hashtag live in the comments. Hashtag live. We have had over 2,700 views for each of our last two segments. So that's a big thanks to you all for helping us to either you're tagging people in the comments that need to watch it, or you're sharing the feed. So give me a hashtag live. Or if you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag replay, and let's see who's joining us today. The other thing, you can react to the feed. So if you react, you can give us a like, give us a heart, give us a wow face. If there's something that Marc has to say, you learn something new about the industry, you learn something new about him, give him a like and a heart, because Facebook likes that. And that means more people can see this. And so that's critically important. So again, thank you for that. And thank you for hopping on and being with us today. So now, without further ado, enough about me. I want you guys to meet Marc. So Marc Hughes, like I said, he's the co-owner with his wife, Hope, of Frannys Pharmacy. Marc, Thanks so much for joining me today.
I really appreciate you having me on today. I'm really excited about this.
Awesome. Well, I want you guys to know a little bit about Marc, and then we're going to get into some of the real nitty gritty, that rapid fire Q&A that we like to start all of our conversations with. So Marc is a native of Western North Carolina. He presently lives in Hickory. He's practiced pharmacy for the past 30 years, working in hospital and community pharmacies. He became interested in CBD and cannabis after his family members tried and got results from these products. So they started Frannies, or opened the door to Frannys Pharmacy in Hickory on January 13th of this year. So Marc, again, thank you for being here. And you ready for this rapid fire Q&A?
Yes, I think I am. We're going to see.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that you will pass with flying colors. All right, let's get to know a little bit more about Marc in 5 minutes or less. Okay, Marc, so what does it mean to be exceptional?
I think that's exceeding expectations.
What's one of the most beautiful places you visited?
So first of all, I'm going to say Western North Carolina is probably the most beautiful place. But but that I visited, I would say Maine. Maine was very beautiful.
Awesome. What is one cause that is near and dear to your heart?
Really just improving the status of the poor, bringing them up.
What's one thing you want to accomplish with this business?
Well, like every other business, to stay open, but also provide jobs to my employees.
Absolutely. Name a piece of technology you wish existed.
Teleportation. I'd love to be able to teleport stuff.
Yes, you could go to that place behind you, which would be kind of cool. If you had a superpower, what would it be, Marc?
Telekinesis. I'd love to be able to move things with my mind. Sit in the chair and be able to just get the remote.
You wouldn't even have to get up. All right. If I gave you $5, what would you buy?
Oh, let's see. Probably a cup of coffee.
Nice. All right. A topic that fascinates you.
History. Any history.
If you could pick up a new skill in an instant, what would it be?
Well, it'd be play a musical instrument like the guitar. I'd love to be able to play the guitar.
Okay, so speaking of guitar and speaking of music, what song do you wish were playing in the background right now? What type of music do you like?
It would be probably Dream On from Aerosmith. Aerosmith is probably my favorite band. Yeah.
Nice. I like that one too. What's one thing you can't live without?
Oh, that's easy. That's my wife.
Hope. Awesome. All right. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Definitely early bird, almost to the point that it's a little obnoxious.
Is that so then does that mean the coffee, then the $5 would come in handy at what, like 4 in the morning for you, or what?
Well, usually right when I get up.
Oh my goodness. All right. What's one of the most random facts about you?
I actually played a year of college football.
Really? Where?
Mars Hill. Yeah, I played the right offensive tackle.
Nice. All right. That's great. Okay. What was the last book you read?
Actually, it's the book I was required to read for Frannies. It's called CBD, A Patient's Guide to Cannabis.
Okay. If you were famous, what would you be famous for?
I'm a griller, so I would say probably my Texas brisket. I make a mean Texas brisket.
Are you a big green egg guy, or like a Weber Smoky Mountain guy, or what?
Green egg all the way.
Green egg. Green egg. I might have to come to your next cookout because that sounds really good right about now. All right. So if you aren't in your store, where would we most likely find you?
Probably working in a pharmacy somewhere.
Okay. You
Because I
can't get
still
away
work
from
as a
it.
pharmacist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now describe entrepreneurship in one word, Marc.
Exciting. I was going to say scary, but I decided to go positive and say exciting.
Well, we know that jumping into entrepreneurship is certainly a big risk, right? I mean, you continue to work full time, and now you have this business that you're running, and the employees, as you mentioned, that rely on you. And so I commend you for taking that risk and making the investment, because I know your why is much bigger than the products that you sell. You have seen these products work firsthand, certainly for a family member. We're going to get into that in just a minute, but I commend you for that. So today we're talking about being exceptional, and even before we talk about what makes you guys exceptional, give us a little bit more closer look into your background. I know you're a practicing pharmacist. You've been in the business on the clinical side for some time. So tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, so most of my career has been in hospital, and we've in the past, pharmacists has kind of been in the background. People haven't seen us, and in the last few years, we've actually come out from our pharmacies and do a lot of patient care along with providers, with nurses and physicians, and so it's given us the opportunity to be more active clinically with patients and understanding, their clinical state, making recommendations on medications and things like that. And so that's kind of helped me with this too, because what we're selling is, I like to say, is good health. Of course, we can't make certain claims about because the FDA and regulators and things like that. And they don't consider it a medication, or I'm sorry, they don't consider it a drug, but it does have a lot of studies behind it. It has a lot of anecdotal information. I have customers coming in, repeat customers saying, I've tried this and it really works. And I really, and they're appreciative and are coming back for more. So.
And what you were just referring to, Mark, was what I was referring to when I said your why is so much bigger than the products you sell. You've seen the impacts and how this has improved the health and wellness of your customers. And so, all right, so now from pharmacy to being, working alongside of physicians and nurses for patient care, kind of bedside in a hospital. Now you jumped into entrepreneurship, and so you're running this franchise of Frannys Pharmacy. So tell us how that came about.
So before I even knew about Frannies, my mother, she's got several issues with her health, two of which is fibromyalgia and rheumatoid arthritis. And she's had issues. She takes other medications for these, but she still would call me and say, "Son, I'm still hurting. What else can I do?" And I'm like, "Well, we've done this. Hey, why don't you try, CBD?" And she was like, "You know what? I'll try anything." And again, this was before I owned the business or anything. And so she ordered some things and started using the CBD. And about 2 weeks later, we were talking, and I'm like, "Mom, how's your pain now? How you feeling?" She's like, "I feel a lot better now." She says, "I really noticed that I just don't have that. It's taken the edge off of all the pain that I've been having." And what's interesting is, so at one point she had to have some surgery done, and so she stopped taking it. And about 2 weeks later, she was like, "Mark, I'm hurting again, and I don't understand why." And I'm like, "Mom, did you start your CBD back?" And she's like, "Oh, no, I did." And so she started it back. And again, a couple of weeks later, I asked her, she says, "That was it." She says, "I feel much better. The pain isn't as bad, and I can function better." And not only my mother, but my sister also has fibromyalgia. And she swears by it. I mean, she says that it really gets her through the day.
All right. So then after you were sold, I mean, you were sold on the products before you jumped into entrepreneurship. So then how did you say, all right, uh, I believe in this so much that now I want to continue to help other people and go so far as to start your own business and open the doors to Frannys Pharmacy back in January. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I was doing a lot of research on the cannabis industry in general, especially when back in 2014, they started allowing small operations of growing hemp again. And then back in 2018, the end of 2018, where they actually approved hemp to be grown and sold again under certain regulatory issues. And so that interested me. And when I was doing my research, they, not only from the medical standpoint, the benefits and that's kind of thing, but from the business standpoint, they were talking that the hemp industry in general will by 2025 be a $20 billion industry in the U.S.
Wow.
Now, that's not just CBD and things like that. We're talking renewable resources for paper, for building materials, for fabrics and things like that. Hemp has many uses, of course. So that's really what got me spurred on to that. And I wanted to go with someone who kind of already had an establishment or established process and was doing research and came across Frannies, and the rest is history.
Well, I know that Franny herself is quite the entrepreneur, and I think she's got a very interesting story. And I believe she's one of the first female hemp growers. Is it in the state of North Carolina, Mark, or is it across the country?
We do know that in the state of North Carolina and possibly on the East Coast, that she may be the first hemp grower, but we do definitely know she was the first female hemp grower in North Carolina.
So that's a really, really neat statistic and fact about her. And of course, she started this model. I believe the first store is in Asheville, Mark, if I'm not mistaken, or in Hendersonville.
Actually, Asheville, Merriman Avenue. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And now she has franchised and has grown into multiple stores, yours being one of them. So tell us since we're talking about being exceptional, going above and beyond, what makes Frannys Pharmacy exceptional to you?
The biggest thing that sold me on Frannys Pharmacy is the products. So as you see behind me, this is Frannys Farm. All right. This is up in Leicester, right outside of Asheville in North Carolina. She actually grows hemp. If you could see a little bit better, you can actually, on the other side, it looks like she's walking across the field. Let's see.
Oh.
Right over in there above the love side.
I can barely make it out, but I think I see. Yeah. That's really her. So, that's really her?
That's really her. She really works the farm. It's the passion of hers. But so what makes us special? So the products, the hemp extract that is in our products, the full spectrum that's in our products is all grown in Western North Carolina. It's either coming off of Franny's farm or she uses other farmers around her to get enough hemp to make these products. So I think it's cool because, for one thing, it helps the industry, helps the economy of Western North Carolina, but it also helps the farmers of North Carolina.
That's right.
The other thing is, again, the products are all made in Asheville, still helping with the Western North Carolina economy. Franny's they try to be forward-looking, like into the regulatory aspect, and they follow such as the FDA's good manufacturing processes. They're always looking, for anything that could be on the horizon to make sure that, they're staying within regulatory, but also making a very clean, safe product.
Mm. And I've been in your store, and if anyone hasn't, I encourage you to stop in. But in addition to safe manufacturing, ensuring that there's no pesticides, ensuring that it's within legal limits, ensuring all of those things for the safety of your clients, you also do a great job about educating clients of what it is. What's the difference between a CBD and something else? So give us a little bit about that, Marc. I mean, what does CBD stand for?
So CBD actually stands for cannabidiol, which is a one of the cannabinoids in full spectrum. Most of our products use full spectrum, and the reason why we use full spectrum is it has the CBD, which is the main component, but it also has other cannabinoids like your CBG, CBNs, things like that that give what we call an entourage effect. The entourage effect helps boost the healing potential of the product. And there's studies, you can Google it. There's been studies in Israel that just was comparing CBD isolate to the full spectrum, and CBD works, but the full spectrum actually has a little broader use.
And how does it exactly work within the body, the chemical makeup of your body?
Right. So what's interesting is, we've always known cannabis has medicinal purposes, okay? But nobody really knew why it affected the body the way it does until about the mid 1990s. I mean, it's been that recent,
Wow.
in the last, 15 years, that researchers have found that people have cannabinoid receptors in their body that these products work on. You actually have natural cannabinoids, one of them being, and I don't want to get too technical, but the name of it is called anandamide, that everybody produces that works on the cannabis or the CB receptors. Okay. And so that's how it works. What's interesting also they found is almost every animal with a spine has these cannabis receptors, even fish. So that's why if you come into the store, you also see we have some pet products, for dogs, mainly for dogs, that really work well. So I hope that wasn't too technical.
No, that was very good. So I think that's something that most people, I didn't even know that this is a natural substance within your body, and your body actually needs it and craves it. And so that's, responding to these receptors. Did I understand that correctly? I don't want to say anything that's not true.
So some of the cannabinoids, now the natural cannabinoids, again, is anandamide, but just like any other kind of medication that we use, we kind of mimic the natural things in your body to get either the result that happens naturally in your body or a higher result.
Got it. Gotcha.
So with the cannabinoids, it isn't exactly because it's a plant-based, but it acts the same as the naturals in your body.
Interesting. All right. So there might be some viewers watching that talking about this, they're unfamiliar with it. They're more familiar with the illegal version that's different from what we're talking about. So it might bring about some uneasy feelings. They might say might not be sure about this, and they probably have heard some myths that we have all heard that have circulated around on the internet or what have you. So you call yourself a cannabis dispensary. Tell us, debunk some of the myths that are most familiar to, and it could be the most familiar to our viewers.
I think the biggest myth that I would want to debunk is the products themselves will not get you high. That's marijuana. Marijuana has a substance THC in it that's very high, and that's what causes the psychoactive buzz feeling you get. You don't get that with ours. It doesn't make you altered or anything like that. It does give you kind of a calm feeling, okay, because it works again naturally with the anandamide in your body to give you that calming feeling, but it doesn't alter your mind. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
So the thing is, a lot of people think that hemp and marijuana is actually different, but it all comes from cannabis. And the cannabis product or plant, what makes it hemp is that it's within a certain, it's low enough that it doesn't have any or has very little THC in it, versus marijuana that has a lot of THC in it. So growers have to be really careful to make sure that we're within those limits, and so that you don't have that psychoactive effect. And that kind of makes it difficult to grow. The farmers who grow this have to be really on top of their game, and are taking a big risk, because if their product doesn't fall within that limits, it has to be destroyed.
Yeah.
And they could lose a whole crop. So, but again, the gains are really big too. So,
right. So that's something that, our viewers, I think it's critically important to understand. Everything in Frannys Pharmacy is legal, right, Mark? Everything's legal.
yes. And usually well below the legal limit. Very, some, I would almost say, so minuscule, sometimes it isn't even detected.
So if you're still a slight bit feel uneasy about it, definitely go in and talk with this team, because they've got diagrams and pictures all over the walls to describe exactly what goes on in the body when you consume these products. I do have a couple comments from Facebook. So we talk about various aspects of CBD. This individual evidently tried some CBD balm. They said it's a great product. He has psoriasis terribly bad, and one of his tenants brought him a sample from your store, and he said immediately he saw results, and he has taken medication for years, so highly recommended. He said he's going to come by and chat with you guys. And then another person said, let's see. Oh, another person has a question. So they said, what are the most popular products in your store?
Most popular, I would say, are our gummies. For one thing, they're pretty tasty, and they have a real. They're just like eating a gummy bear, They have 10 milligrams of CBD and cannabinoids in it, and it's kind of a convenient thing to use. I get people who like to take it at night to help them sleep. And by the way, let me go ahead and tell you, 3 of the most, I guess, studied benefits of these products is relief of pain, anxiety, and also to help with sleep. But what we're finding out is, like with the gentleman with I think you said he had psoriasis, right. Was it?
Yeah, psoriasis.
Eczema.
Psoriasis.
Okay. We're finding that these products have anti-inflammatory effect. And so it surprises me when people come in and say, I had some of your tincture and I put it on a spot and the spot went away. And I'm like, that's interesting, because it was probably part of that anti-inflammatory effect that it has. It actually also has some anti-infective effects, because I've had I call them patients, they're actually customers that have had surgeries and actually apply it to the surgical areas. And they came in and they said, my surgeon was impressed on how well it has healed. Wow. And so we're finding these things out all the time. So, of course, getting back to the question was,
you said,
did I answer the question?
You did. You talked about tinctures, you talked about gummies. Being some of the most popular products. The balm we talked about.
Yeah, the salve is one of them that is it's a topical, and that's again another neat thing about these products. They work not only internally, but they also work topically on your skin in localized areas. So,
All right. So you talked a little bit earlier about the industry across the state and across the country. Of course, this is a rapidly evolving, like you said, you're learning new things from a scientific standpoint about the products. But more and more farmers across our state are transitioning over to growing hemp. And so this is a significant portion of our agribusiness economy. Can you give us some more specifics about that, Mark, just in general about the industry?
Well, I think a lot of people are expecting the growth of hemp to be kind of the replacement for the tobacco. You know, we've lost a lot with the health about tobacco that has farmers. And so this is a crop that, if done right, has big gains with it because, you know, they can use the extract for products can use the for not only cloth, but again, for building materials and even for feed, even for like feeding of livestock. So it's a very versatile and very profitable crop.
Mark, it seems like we're having a little bit of issues with your internet bandwidth.
I think with something.
Let's see. Kim says we're good to go on the Facebook side. So we'll just keep going. Okay. If there's an issue, that we'll make a pause. Everybody, you guys understand this, you know, the love-hate relationship with technology these days. And again, I know you'll extend us a little bit of grace if the feed's not perfect. I'm hearing him just fine. So we're going to continue on. So yeah, very, very interesting. And also there are farmers in our region, within our 4-county region, that are currently growing hemp. And that's probably something that most people don't realize. And so that, talking about an economy standpoint, this is also good for our local and state and national economy. We talked a little bit more about the health benefits of the products. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add there, Mark, about the health benefits.
Again, I think it's just amazing some of the research that's coming out of it, because in the past it's been really difficult to research this plant because of the legality issues, and now that you know, hemp is legal and it's legal throughout the whole country, it's making it easier for researchers to do the research. I thought there was an interesting research came out of Canada about COVID. It was, of course, it hasn't been peer reviewed, and so I'm not going to go into any depth, but, you know, they're finding things that are kind of surprising that they didn't really think about it could do. So I think we're going to see a lot more research about it and see more indications and look more definitive, you know, studies about it.
So Mark, as we close, talking about yourself as an entrepreneur, what's your vision for this business? You know, what do you hope? You mentioned like keeping your employees employed, but beyond that, even what's your vision for your business going forward?
I think the big one is education. I think, again, this is really helping because we're getting out, you know, good information to people. And just like you said, there's a lot of myths. There's a lot of, you know, hesitation about using these type of products. And I think just going forward, more and more people who know about the benefits will benefit. It will help them. I'd like to see, you know, I'm a pharmacist, but I understand that certain medications are, you know, can be detrimental. Opioids, for instance. You know, we're in an opioid, what we call opioid epidemic. And so there has been some good data out there that shows that the use of cannabis actually can decrease that the use of opioids. And so it's just stuff like that that I think will benefit people, and getting the word out there that, hey, this is a good product, it's a safe product. You need to make sure it's from a reliable source, and just, yeah, the information. That's the big thing, you know.
Well, speaking of information, we did have someone ask if they could come in and learn more about the products and talk with you guys. And I, for one, have experienced this very directly, so I can answer that question. Absolutely. I know you and your team, Kristen is also there with you. You guys could come and educate everyone on their particular issue, but just to learn more about the products themselves. Anything else you want to add there, Marc?
We're open, and we are happy. You know, even if we just love people coming in. You know, if you're interested and about the products, come in and talk to us. It's free consultation, and we'll try to find the right product for you.
And tell them where you're located.
We are located the actual address is 964 2nd Street Northeast. Most people understand when I say we're next to Panera on 127.
Yeah.
Panera and Salsaderia. We're in the 2nd Street Square shopping center there.
Very good. And also, Kim has added your address and your website to the comment feed on this Facebook Live Q&A. So, Marc, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been a fascinating topic to discuss. Also, just thinking about your experience with entrepreneurship and your vision for your business. Again, I'll encourage people to engage with them, go chat with them, meet with them, and learn more about these products. I want to thank you all for tuning in and joining this live and also engaging with us. If you would, I'm going to remind you, sharing is caring. So share this video so more people can hear from Marc and what he has to say and learn more about Frannys Pharmacy. If you want to join us for our next session, we're going to be live with Kim Whitley with Patrick Harper and Dixon. She's the managing partner on July the 16th. So I hope you'll join us at noon to hear from her next week. Also want to thank our sponsor again, J. Brown Realtors, for making this possible. If you are watching the replay, I hope that you'll give us a hashtag replay. If you're watching this live, give us a hashtag live. If you have any other questions, drop them in the comments and we'll be happy to get those answered from Marc and their team. So again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.